Hey everyone, so we are back with the part 4.2 of our series, and now we'll be discussing about more concepts into GitHub. Okay, so for this particular session, we'll be using two GitHub accounts. One of them is open in my main Chrome tab, which is I have signed in as Hariket Shade, and in my incognito tab, I'm signed in as InspireX Coder. So both of these accounts we'll be using for this particular session. So let me go to this particular repository of my temporary account and let me show you. Yes, so now I'm in this particular repository, and now if I wish to contribute to this particular repository, if I want to add anything in his code base, so I don't have any permissions to do that right now, okay, because he's the owner of this repository. What I have to do now to actually add my contributions is that I have to make my own copy. I have to add my contributions. I have to open a pull request, which is like requesting the owner, and then if he accepts that pull request and merges that pull request, then my contributions would be reflecting in his repository, which is this git session repository I'm showing on screen for this particular example, right? So this is how the process goes, right? So now to create my own copy such that I am the owner of that particular copy, so I have to fork that repository. Okay, so now I'm forking it in my Hariket Shade account, and you can also see on the top that it's mentioned as Hariket Shade, and the name of the repository is the same as the owner's repository, and you can also see a line which is reading as forked from InspireX Coder's git session. So this is the exact copy of the owner's repository, and now this is the copy of which I am the owner of. So I can have any kind of I can add anything here. I can change his code, I can edit code, I can delete code from here, and yeah, basically doing all the things here because I am the owner. And then if I wish to contribute something, I can open a PR from my side. Okay, so I can open a pull request and I can request him to please see to this contribution I have made. If he feels that yeah, you have made some valuable contribution, he will accept that and merge that, right? So this is how concept of forking works, and I have forked this repository. You can see two new buttons which are visible here, which is contribute and fetch upstream. Okay, so we'll be covering both of these things as well, right? So let me first show you the concept of fetch upstream now. Okay, so now I'm in the InspireX Coders account. I am the owner of this repository. Let me directly make some changes in this particular file. Okay, so let me add as this is a new line, and just I will make some small contributions only. Let me commit this changes. Okay, so now you can see there's a change in here, but if I go to my Hariket Shade account, you can't see anything. You can't see that, right? You can't see that particular change added in the readme file. Why? Because when I forked that repository, this was the version which I forked, right? This was the version, and the version which I edited just now is a newer version. So what I have to do actually, you can also see it's reflected here that this branch is one commit behind of InspireX Coder's main branch. Okay, so this is how it also reflects here. So now what I can do is that, okay, you have a simple alternative to do that. You can actually click on this fetch upstream, and you can just press this button of fetch and merge. Okay, but we will see this, we'll actually execute this using our git commands. So what also we'll cover one more concept. So you saw about forking the repository. Now let's also copy this URL particular. If you click on code, you can copy this particular repository URL. Now let me return to this, and now to actually get this repository in your local system, you have a command of git clone, which is like cloning the repository, or in simple terms, if I can say it, it's like downloading the repository. Okay, so cloning and forking are both different. So I'm cloning this repository. Let me use the command of git clone, and let me paste the URL of the repository and then press enter. Okay, so I have done that. Let me check that. You can also see that in my local system it's downloaded here as git session. Okay, now let me go to this particular folder by using our cd command, and okay, so now I am inside this particular repository. Let me clear the terminal. Okay, so now this is the repository which is connected to my forked repository, right? So now we'll also cover the concept of remotes. So let me first execute the command of git remote v. You can see there are two remotes added here, already present here, which are named as origin, and you have the specific URLs as well, right? So what is the concept of remote is that it's kind of a connection between your local repository and your remote repository, And by convention, when you are the owner of some repository, you name it as origin. So you give it as alias name as origin. So that is like giving a particular name to a long URL which you are using. So this is also, you can take it as when you are giving short mnemonics to your complex terms and all of those things. So you have at present origin because you were the owner of this particular forked repository, right? So you can see the URL specify this is the forked repository. And you have another concept of git remote, basically the command I'm telling to add the remote. So it's like git remote, and you want to add that. I want to add and remote for upstream. Okay, so what is this upstream? Upstream is basically the owner's repository. Okay, because he is the owner of that, and I will copy his repository URL from here, and I will add that URL here. Okay, now I did that, and let us check git remote v again. And yeah, now you can see there are 4 remotes. Okay, origin is pointing to my forked repository, upstream is pointing to his repository, owner's repository. Okay, so this is how the concept of remote works. It acts as a link or a connection between your local repository and your remote repository. So now we see in our main forked repository, it is one commit behind InspireX Coder's repository. Okay, so what we have to do now is that we have to actually fetch those changes, right? So there is a concept of fetch, merge, and pull. Okay, we will cover all of these things in this video as well. So what I will do is that I will fetch the changes from where. If you ask that question to yourself, you will understand I will fetch from upstream, not origin, because owner's repository is the updated one, not mine. Okay, and I want to upstream, like I want to fetch the changes from which branch? Main branch. So I will write that, and I fetched those changes. Now I have just fetched those changes. These changes are now kind of downloaded or taken into my local repository, but these are not merged. Okay, so I have just taken them. I'm just aware about that some change has been made, so I have fetched them from the upstream, but these are not merged. So what I have to do to merge my local repository to that, I will use the command of git merge. And to which version I have to actually merge this? I want to merge it to the version where upstream main branch is pointing. So I will use this. You can see what happened, updating, and it also gave me that readme file was updated, one file was changed, 2 insertions were done, 1 deletion was done. Whatever change happened, it is now showing me. Okay, so now understand that this particular version which is shown on your left is updated. Okay, so this particular version is updated, but my remote repository is still behind. Okay, because this is a remote repository and we have just updated the local repository. So what we have to do to actually update my remote repository, simply you have to do is push this local repository to your remote repository. How you can do that? I want to push my origin now because I am pushing it to forked repository. So I will use origin, and now I will type main branch. So I use git push origin main. You can see it is pushed. Okay, now if I go to my main account, if I click on refresh, you can see that now this branch is up to date with InspireX Coder's main. So that is how actually the concept of fetch, merge, and pushing the code to your remote repository from local repository works. So we covered 3 concepts in one go, and you can also see the changes are reflected here as well. So, and simply if you want to also do it from here, you can obviously do, but this is how the beauty of git commands is. So we did fetch upstream using our git commands. Now let me also make one another change from your here InspireX Coder's account. Let me add one more line. Okay, and then we'll cover one more concept. So this is a second line. Okay, so I have added this line. Now let's commit the changes. Now if I go to my account again, I will see it's again one commit behind. So now let me go to this terminal again. Simple command to do all of these process in one single command, which is that git pull, and I will do upstream main. Okay, so this is like pulling all of the things. Pulling all the things from upstream to your main branch. Okay, so this is like I pulled all of these changes and I merged also. So this git pull is equal to git fetch plus git merge. So git pull is exactly doing the job of these two commands. Okay, so you can use git pull upstream main, which is actually pulling all of the changes done in your upstream and merging it with your main branch. Okay, so that is how it works. And now what I can do, I've just updated my local repository. So I will do git pull, git push origin main. Okay, now if I refresh, you can see it's again branches up to date with Inspire Xcode as main. So when we are discussing about remotes, it acts as a link between your local working directory and your remote repository. Okay, so that is what the concept of remote is. And one of the things which we covered right now is that when you are the owner of that particular repository, it is a naming convention. When you are the owner, you give your remote name as origin, and when someone else is the owner of that particular repository, you name it as upstream. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule to name them as that, but it is a name convention, as I said, so you have to follow that. And even if you want to give any other name, it's fine. That is what the concept of fetch, merge, pull, cloning, forking is all about. And now we'll be also looking into concepts of branches. Okay, so let me go to someone else's repository and let me show you the concept of that. Let me again refer to your React repository, and if I go to this React repository, yeah, so here you can see there are a lot of branches. Okay, there's a main branch which is the default branch, and there are a lot of other branches. So when you are working on your open source project, it's always a kind of a tip or an advice that you have to create branches of your own name, or it can be feature name or something which you are working on, and then you push your changes to that particular branch, not the main branch. Okay, this has two reasons to this. Okay, first of them is that this particular version is used by the public. Okay, so this version is particular in use, and you can't directly push your contribution to this without having any sort of review discussions and all of that. It can be very dangerous that you're pushing your everything onto main branch without having any sort of review or anyone giving you suggestions on your contribution. Because because it is possible that you have bugs or some kind of errors to fix while you have submitted your contribution, so there can be changes, there needs some improvements, so you have a lot of things to that. So directly pushing your codes to the main branch is not very appreciable, and it's not very also safe as well. So what you do is that you create branches of your features and anything which you're working on, and then you keep pushing your changes to that, and you are giving taking the reviews, you are making new improvements, and afterwards when you get a thumbs up from their side, when it's perfectly fine, all checks are passed and all of that, you make the final pull request of merging your particular branch. Suppose say this particular feature branch, let me say this particular branch of let's say the 16.8.3 to your main branch. Okay, so this is how concept of branches is. And one more thing which I said, second reason is that, okay, let me open a pull request for that. For that, let us go to again our forked repository of Hurricane Shade Git session. Okay, so now that I'm the owner of this particular repository, as I said, let me add one more line from my account. Okay, so now this is a account of Hurricane Shade, and let me commit the changes here. Now I have made a change in my particular repository, and if I go on Git session, you can see this branch is one commit ahead of Inspire Xcoder's main. Okay, but if I go on Inspire Xcoder's this repository, I will not be notified here. No information will be visible here for that, because he's not the owner of that forked repository, right? So he won't be getting any information about the same. I won't be knowing what is the status of the forked repositories if I'm viewing it as Inspire Xcoders. So I won't know the status of that particular repository and the repository which is forked. So if I this is my account where I have made the contribution. To contribute, I have to open a pull request. Okay, so I'm opening a pull request, which is like requesting the owner, the Inspire Xcoders, to merge my additions. Okay, so added a contribution, and be very descriptive about your pull request. Okay, this is one more advice, that add screenshots, be very descriptive about your changes, so that it's easy for the owner of the repository or the maintainer who is reviewing your PR to actually merge your pull request. Okay, so try to make that process easier for him. So now you can see, if I go to InspireX Coders, I can see there's a pull request, and there's a pull request from Harikesh. So as I am assigned in as InspireX Coders, I have the permission to merge this pull request. Okay, so I can merge this pull request. So before doing that, let me actually go to this Git session. So now I have one pull request open, right? So now let's say, suppose you want to work on feature 2. Okay, let's take it as this is third line. Let's take it as this is the first feature I wanted to work on. Now I want to work on another feature. Okay, now I want to work on another feature. I added the contribution for that in here. Let me add it as this is fourth line. Okay, so I'm adding this particular. Let's take it as the second feature I want to work on, and let me commit those changes, right? So I did that. Now I can't open a pull request. Okay, now I can't open a pull request. Okay, I can't open a pull request. Why? Because everything now I do would be actually merged in this particular pull request only, right? So now if I go and check here, you can see there are two commits now. And if I go on files changed, you can see this particular change is also included here. This is fourth line. So you can't open multiple pull requests from the same branch. Each branch is equivalent to opening a single pull request. So if you are working on different features, and if you have a already open pull request, you can't open a separate pull request from the same branch. But if you are creating new branches, obviously you can create a new pull request or parallel pull request. So suppose you have two branches, you can open two separate pull requests. Each branch can actually open one pull request. Now what I did is that I pushed this is third line, and I opened a pull request, so that is included in pull request. But now I added some more changes, which is this is fourth line, and that is also included in my pull request 1. So that is what actually the concept of that is also one of the advantages why you should make branches and work, so that your code feature which you are working on, feature 1, does not get hindered or is not disturbed by the additions you are making for feature 2 or something else contribution which you are making. So this is how the concept of branching works. Okay, and when you are done with your contributions, what you do is that you merge your branch with the main branch. Okay, so that is how we do that. Let me also show you that from here. Let us go to the forked repository. Okay, let me go here. Let me create a new repository, a new branch, and I will create a branch from let me take it as Harikeet. Okay, I'm creating a branch from main. So I created a branch. You can also see here main and Harikeet are there. So now let me add my things here. Let me add this. Okay, added changes. uh, okay, so I have made these two edits here right now. So what I can do is that now you go to this, and now you can see that I can actually open a pull request. Okay, so now I can create a separate pull request, and now in here you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so while opening a pull request, you have the option of actually merging it to which particular thing, right? So I'm actually pushing my changes from Harikeet branch to the main branch of InspireX Coders, right? You can see here I am pushing from Harikeet branch of this particular forked repository to the main repository of InspireX Coders and its main branch. So that is how the concept of, like, suppose let's assume that my changes are proper, I have taken the review as well, everything is proper. So now I can do that. So now I am merging my branch to the main branch of that particular repository. So that is how it works. Okay, now I have done that. Let me go to the owner's thing and let me refresh. You can see there are two separate pull requests. This is from the main branch of my repository, forked repository. This is from my Harikeet branch of forked repository. You can see, so each branch have a separate pull request. So now let me merge this particular pull request. Okay, so I'm merging this, confirm merge. So my that pull request is merged. And now if I like as an owner, if I refresh this, you can see all the changes are here, all the things are added here, and you can check that. Okay, that particular branch is not visible here, but the changes are added here in the owner's repository. You can see this is the Inspire Xcode is Git session. Okay, so let's have a live demonstration for the branching concept. Okay, so this is kind of a demonstration for your repository. So take it as a repository which has a main branch, and you C0, C1, C2 are basically the commits which are made on this particular repository. Let me make one more commit, and C3 is your new commit. You can see these commits are added to the main branch of the repository, and the star pointer, which is also the head pointer, is pointing to the main branch. Okay, so now if you want to create a branch from basically using your git command, you can have the command of git branch, and I will specify the branch name. Okay, by doing that you can see there's a new branch created which is named as Hurricane, but the head pointer is pointing to the main branch. Okay, so if I use git commit again, the commit would be added to the main branch, not this particular branch. What I have to do to move my head pointer to this particular branch or point my head pointer to the Hurricane branch, I have to use the command of git checkout. So I will do git checkout and I will write my branch name. So now you can see the head point now points to my particular branch. Now if I do git commit, the commit should be added to the Hurricane branch, not the main branch. You can see that in the demonstration as well. So C4, C5 and all of that C6 commits are now added to the Hurricane branch. Okay, so I have cleared the demonstration part. Now let me again explain one of the other things. Okay, so now we saw about how to create a new branch and how to actually move our head pointer to that particular branch. We have another command which is git checkout B and the branch name actually. So what it does is that the function of this is that it will create a new branch, plus it will actually move your head pointer to that new created branch. Okay, so if I do that, you can check that what happened. A new branch was created with the name we specified, plus the pointer was shifted from main to my new branch. Okay, so I don't have to specify two, I don't need to write two separate commands, which is git branch and git checkout. I can simply write git checkout with the flag of -b, and I can specify the branch name I want to create to, right? So this is how the commands work for branching. I will do git commit and it's creating a commit in my Hurricane branch. But I will now explain the concept of how actually the scenario is. So even when you're working in open source projects, you will understand that while you're working on your own branch, which is like you're pushing your changes, you're making contributions to features on your branch, work is also parallelly going on in the main branch, right? People won't stop until you are making your contributions. They will not wait for you. Okay, because there are several pull requests, and you will see that, yeah, people are obviously making changes there are pull requests getting merged, and there are some of the things happening in the main branch. So your branch might be behind like your branch might be some commits behind of that main branch or something. If you're contributing there, you can see this would be the kind of a small scenario I'm showing you. So you are committing in your own branch, and parallelly the work is also going on main branch. So you can't leave your thing as it is in this situation, because this is pointing to the C2 version of the main repository, but already the work has been posted in main repository, which is now actually at a version of C7. Like the changes are now till C0, C1, C2, C5, C6, C7. So all of these commits are made in the main branch. So you can't leave it as that. So what you do is that, as we also explain in your Git actually, so what you do is that you merge your branch with the main branch. So what you do is that you merge this particular branch by using the command of git merge, and you write git merge Hurricane. So now you can see that all of these changes which you have made are now actually pointing to the main branch. So all of these changes are included. Okay, so this is how actually the concept of branching works. This is a demonstration, because again, if we write commands and explain the things in type of a theory, then it will be very confusing. So let me do reset again and let me clear it to another concept. Okay, and let me make some commits in the main branch first, and okay, that is enough. I think I'll make a new branch again using git checkout B and Hurricane. Okay, so I did that. Now let me make two commits here as well. Okay, I did that. Now let me go to main branch and let me make some commits there. Okay, that is enough. Now, okay, so that's one command which is named as your get rebase. Okay, so that has some specific uses when you want to squash commits and all of that, but don't use it for merging your branches to the main branch of the repository. Okay, it is not actually beneficial, because what it does is that it changes the history of that particular repository or the commits which you are rebasing. Okay, so that thing. So let us see what happens when you use git rebase. Let me do git rebase, and let me take it as that. So now you can see what happens. It selects the C3 C4 commit from the Hurricane branch and adds to the main branch. So you see what happened. So it actually changes the history, because C3 C4 are commits which you have made on some date, we don't know, and it adds them directly to the C7 commit which is pointing to the main branch. That is all for this session, and we covered about git fetch, git merge, git pull, git push, and we also covered about forking, cloning a repository. We also covered about what is the importance of creating branches. You should not directly push your codes to main branch, and what is the like commands for your creating new branches. Also, we saw how to fetch upstream from git commands. We also covered about git checkout and git rebase. Okay, so all of the things I mentioned, all the commands I have mentioned in the Google Docs link, if you want to actually execute and see what are the functions of all these commands, you can obviously check out. And yeah, you can also see this video for your help and for your reference if you are facing any errors while executing those commands. So you can check out that, and if you have any doubts also, you can like mention them in the comment section. We'll be happy to answer them. So that is all for this part 4.2, and in part 5 we'll be discussing about open source and what are the opportunities present for you all. So thank you, and keep learning. Have a happy learning as well.